修学爱道场，人道为是念的将来的，三界心中没得回我的，这个哪怕行了这把修，一当不了干的，老板你哪大呀？
哎呀，对对。我的这里，你们记得，什么特别特别的设定的？你对我的记得什么对你的这个设定，就三个汤，就年个三个汤，처음에 들어가서 버티, 지대지만, 그렇게 봐서 지대지만 이걸로 게를 덮더라. 그래서 지대지만, 지대지만 이걸로 게를 쌍국이요. 이제 얘가 이제 근처 왔습니다. 얘가 왔습니다. 얘가 그랬지만 다다야 붙여버렸어. 지금 되게 대주들이 얘가 그랬을 다 다른 치마들이 지내야 돼. 답을 빼야지. 지금 봐. 어디 이제 대주 얘가 왔습니다. 다른 인지 좀 내버리면 쉽지. 아니, 얘가 얘를 둘수 있지 맞구나. 치마든지 얘가 버렸을 때도 맞더니 대주 치마 그래서 그래. 대주의 대상된 거지. 투약이. 아니, 그 소리 배그를 봐. 배를 주고.
Now, in terms of the outline, two major outline, how to develop the interest for the higher migration in the next slide, and how to follow on the actual path. So, in terms of those two outline, we have discussed the first outline during last class, and in the first outline, it covers two major important topics such as meditation on finding the reality of precious human body endowed with relation fortune and the impermanence. Now, if you look at the first one, the more one thinks about how precious this human body, which is endowed with relation fortune, and the more one thinks about this preciousness, then the greater one will have in terms of to utilize properly. Otherwise, to have again such a state of birth in the next life is extremely difficult because the causes and condition of to have this such a human precious body, it's extremely difficult. So therefore, the more one thinks about how precious this body is and how one can take the most essence out of this body, the more one contemplate on those two topics, then the greater sense of one will have in terms of utilizing or taking essence out of this body. Now, when one meditates about impermanence, transitory nature of our existence, now in this we have covered three important topics, such as first one is certainty of a death, right? The death is certain. The one thinks about this topic, then one will come to conclude that I must practice the Dhamma. Then second topic, the uncertainty of the time of the death. Because when we will die, it's uncertain. Therefore, the more one thinks about the second topic, then one should come into the conclusion that I should practice Dhamma now rather than procrastinating. And then one contemplate on the third topic, which is at the time of our death, only the Dhamma practice is beneficial. At the time of the death, one has to leave everything behind except the deeds that one have accumulated. So therefore, by thinking on this, the third topic, one should come to conclusion that I will only engage in Dhamma practice now, or the prioritizing on the Dhamma practice. Now, those two topics is extremely important. Contemplation on the precious human body and the revelation fortune, and contemplation on the impermanence. Those two topics are extremely important in terms of truly uh, undertaking on the genuine spiritual practice. As a past Kadamba masters, they always um, build these foundations very firmly and then engage into the further spiritual practice. And as a tradition, and many of those Kadamba masters, before they practice those two, they recite, they quote a stanza from either Chantikritis, supplements to the Middle Way, that's the Chantikritis text. It is a quote from that text where it says that, in essence, it says that right now, while we have freedom and time to engage in the spiritual practice, therefore one must seize that golden opportunity to further engage into the spiritual practice. What if we lose those opportunities? Then that is the greatest loss. Or they quote from a different text, Master Shanti Deva's a text tied to Bodhisattva's way of life. In that text, there's a quotation from that text. It says that finding a precious human body is extremely difficult. While we have this now, we must take the essence. Otherwise, thinking that I will do, I will do, I will take the essence next time when I get the same precious human body, then that is a fooling oneself. While we have now, we must take the essence, properly utilize the precious human body that we have now. So, in this manner, as a tradition, the practitioner genuinely contemplate on those lines, then they start the actual practice. So, uh, ideally speaking, for us too, if we follow in a similar footstep, that would be a great. Otherwise, even one cannot take a very serious thoughts on those lines, but it's very important for us to genuinely contemplate reflection on those topics is that important.
다드네 다 처음에다 somebody 쇼게 지생물이 기부담바이 쇼게 처음에다 버치서 민구레지 곤달레지 성미 그래서는 처음에다 버치면 랑 말아버지 야디까 거기에 야버치 삼비나 그뒤치나 하고 예 말인 지 이제 삼번님 버지니까요 선사를 주는 거다 치료니 강해지게 지냈으면 그래봐. 그러니까 이제 처음에 다봤으니 선비나 뒤식이나네 초두교가지 초삼백 뒤식이 이제 뒤식이나네 초두교가 처음에 다봤는데 제기나네 초두교가 아니 바람이 제시 이제 일단 뒤식이나네 초두교가 처음에 다봤습니다. 처음에 다봤습니다. 지금 어떤 일이고, 지금 나는 삼방에 바르부터, 지 삼방에 바다, 야, 좀 맞춰보지 레로 제일 돼야다. 야, 삼방에 바르부터지 까투야래. 아니지, 좋았었나? 좋아 맞았나지? 밑에 시비 맞으면서 도시도가 같이 뒤져치게 시비 맞으려 가요 지지게 봐 어디래.
So a genuine Dharma practitioners exhibit oneself that to meditating or cultivating awareness on impermanence 3 times a day. That cultivating awareness on the morning, that how the transitory nature of our existence, then keeping that heed of that reflection on the impermanence sustained through the know how everything is a fragile, everything is impermanent nature. And that momentum of the heat further sustains through the evenings and the holding onto and sustaining onto that heat of impermanence. So this is very important awareness as far as spiritual practitioners. In fact, awareness on the impermanence is the greatest awareness of all the spiritual practice, because when one has a genuine sense of this awareness, how everything is momentarily changing, how everything is impermanent, right? So this helps oneself to truly engage into the spiritual practice. Not only engage, it also helps to restrain from the non-virtuous deeds, either through a thought or actions. For examples, like if let's say if one know that I'm going to die now, so what is the good of what is the how to say what is the good of if I hurt or cheat someone else? Because I mean, for me, I'm going to die now. So there's no actually beneficial for me uh, to lie, to cheat, to do any non-virtuous deeds, right? So therefore, there's a Tibetan expressions like the person who doesn't, the person who thinks that the person, the person who thinks that that person will live forever, most likely engage in a very heinous actions, right? So this is important to develop this like awareness that impermanent. The more person has this impermanence, it greater it helps the persons to restrain from the non-virtuous deeds.
다 되지. 다드네, 다디, 지대치마 대회 탑된 거 세디, 예송도 멤버의 민지네스, 제디, 예송도 동에 디셰브리. 니네 구조송의 잠도 신인시도 예송의 동에 살을 탑대 가르에서는, 구조송의 겹sun 들어와 대당, 기분, 디가, 뭐하다, 저하 두바티, 다디, 예술의 등에 탑디 잠주다 렌제시 디미팅게.
Now, so now in terms of second outline, to lead on the actual practice that develops, to lead on the actual practice that's caused to have a higher migration. For this one, so please look at the stanza 66. 66 onwards, it falls under that outline. And the first line reads as August as the snaring blaze of suffering in the lower realms. I take heartfelt refuge in the three jewels. So the first line it reflects on the nature of three lower migrations, and the second line it reflects the taking refuge. So in order to be protected from not to fall from three lower migrations, uh, important to take the refuge to the three jewels.
다디 겐데스 연벌에서는 다 치료도 가르치지 다 던지 치워 삼 때문에 삼버가 예바 남지의 차이야 말이야. 치료는 줄마도 심하게 말이죠. 다 치료도 가르치기 위해서는 네 치료도 한매 차이야 말이야. 네 교질이 뭐야? 교질은 수도 전부 등에도 신이 인사다 말한들 예 저 투만매번에 단단한 예술이 제야 말이지 예술이 계집이 살지 말한들 나를 사셔도 뒤바다 저와니부터 상단이 다디 뒤바만 부사셔야지 저와디 저 点对的不买吧， Shule ngwati ya puchimachiriche. Ni jopi dapuchitume unundi sampuchiche. Ni jawati tule negasu chiri namni tatiri undu masuma diapuchitume. Ni tupsadu sunai jawati ya ngwati ni ni ngwaya puchen ni senjiri tijiri chetu sanjiri kupa ya mubiyarwa te mangu puchen ani jawati top chunju ani kondrola sobati subi chumjurwa jesanta susubi jawati ya tiju tikingeto jawa machele che kinima jawa machele che nami undu kiswa kingeto nami undu nasaniya ji yungani ni ji gewadu mitumene de kajeto tadi susah aku de majilia jadi gewaje ya di ni jawa maju je yang megewa je nami undu sene jesam me je de de kajeto ni ya de kajeto Dini ya ji ya ni ji rung samjung ne bache kandi je to ti sam ta mai ne ni jo tu ya tu ti ni ro ji ne ba mi shu me ri sa ta ti ta chi ma de ya ro te te ru ni ri sha ta wa ti ji to
So now, if we make a connection between the this stanza 66 with the previous stanza, so in the previous we have talked about the immediate topic. We talked about the impermanence, right? Impermanence, for the impermanence that is certain and time of that is uncertain. At the time of the death, only the spiritual practice benefits, right? So now, so if we make this connection, so what happens when we die? So when we die, so as a Buddhist, we believe in this consciousness continues to the next lives. So because like our consciousness doesn't disappear as soon as we die, rather it takes a journey to the next life. And what kind of state, what kind of rebirth I will have, that is totally determined by what kind of virtues or non-virtuous deeds that it will determine by what kind of virtues and non-virtues that one have accumulated while one is alive. Right? Now let's pause it and think about this way. Like how much I really devote myself to practice the Dharma practice. Now, if we sincerely think about these topics, like it is possible that many of us, even though we engage in this practice, how good is, how proper our motivations while we practice the Dharma practice, right? While we engage in the Dharma practice, how good or how healthy motivation we have. Then, even though we have a healthy motivation, how long one can sustain this motivations while we actually engage in the Dhamma practice. And we are vulnerable in terms of while we engage in the actual practice, our mind goes around, roams around, right? And then lots of like challenges involved in the actual Dharma practice. Then even though we have good all those things, but then how good, virtuous, uh, and how virtuously one have concluded your practice with the dedications. Then, then we are also vulnerable to dedicate those merits one have accumulated. Maybe we are vulnerable in terms of mundane concerns, right? Because the proper motivation should be uh, dedicated for the well-being of all non-sentient beings, right? So, if one, I mean, how much of those things we are engaging, so each one of us can examine. We don't need to validate for others, but rather look more inwardly and to ask those things. Then, generally speaking, virtuous with the non-virtuous, we are more vulnerable to commit more into the non-virtuous than the virtuous. Even we accumulate virtues, we are more vulnerable to accumulate weak virtues versus a strong virtues.
That in some of the times, many colors, Tandana, she jerry in the dirty. Yes, it did that. Near soon, dear. Near soon to jail to Montosashi, sometimes near soon to give it. Near soon, any near soon till a dozen year. Nyawa ita tundus. Desumati the bird of Chimbajinya di Nyawali Jigger. Dine Jin di Itali Jigger. It was that mood of the Tondoli Jigger. The answer any Yasu to get this sometime. Telling Yasumi Nyawali Jibber. Your Tanya says, Tanya Gay, Tanya Gay. Any Yaku, your sheer. Tanya Gicho, read Yaku, your she, do you see? Or do you say, did it? Again, never to meet some Tanda around the Tanda, Yawali Gay, Yamari, nature matter which a dead she had an Udi Chesson, she's here. Yawali get to hear about Chesson, and the machine, Yawi Gigi to Matama members, Manando, you are some Nathan, never to meet the some time. There's some dancing, and then Jishi Tapeluchi. Jishi Tapeluchi, that Newton, Yogi Tuck, many Jomyeri, any touch to this something. Tin Kunjotin here. Kunjotin any Jamruchiating wherever. What is a Jibadi? Nesungiti, Nesun to name Baby, Menching, that it is some of the time. Some of the time to turn to judge it. Take in the Taka, religious the graduates and Punjosuni children. Punjosia, like Jamdru Checo, Jamdru Jet, any Jamdru, any larger to the jetty. Punjosuni Jefferson, landed Sunyati, the Jesson, Ningasuli Tari Tuck, Jason. Aleti Jamdu Yapoyana, Nyawal Tandaran, Nyawal Kaya Mariti, Nyawaki Mambu Yusam. Yaitu suci ani karsukre. Yaitu suci nyawal kia di yaitu suci karsukre. Matana ni nyawal kipirba. Itu insan itu nyawal kipirba. Jadi kita tak kerja sini punjusum yang sanji punjusum betul training mereka. Di training di training itu punjusum yang betul na ngasih tadi. Waktu insan ta tanda di tu siapa di jadi. Cuma waktu mana tu gaya mereka jawab ini nyebat ni. Jawab ni setinggi tu kita tentu cini res. Dan nyandu di sini kerja sen maju. Tanda nyandu di jadi. Never generations. Kerja sen jadi jawab tu dia tanah, mikir tu dia ni nani, mikir tu dia betul mana. Mikir tu dia tu, jawab tu cinci. Ini cerita. Yang sundi kena ta, yang sundi kena kena. Cita cita yang itu ni. Tapi lagi berjaya cukup. Saya kalau cikgu kan jam kerja, waktu tius jadi, tanda tius yang beres.
Now, like if we so if we examine the very nature of our deeds, right? So how much one accumulates the virtuous deeds versus how much one commits in the non-virtuous. So for ordinary people, for us, we are more vulnerable to engage in non-virtuous deeds. And since we have already accumulated immense of non-virtuous deeds within us, as long as we have not cleansed, purified those, we are bound to fall into three lower migrations, because we already accumulated the causes and conditions of such a state. Now, speaking of lower migrations, three lower migrations are hell, hungry ghosts, and animals. And depending on the intensity of the non-virtuous, the very intense goes to the hell, and the medium, the hungry ghosts, and the lesser is the animals. So within the hell world, that's divided into a few different groups or the categories. First one is the hot hell, second one is the cold hell, and then third one is the vicinity hells. So there are 8 different hot hells and the 8 different cold hells, and the vicinity, 4 different vicinities locates on each of those hot and cold hells. Now, so as mentioned earlier, so as soon as we die, so what really determines to take the state of the rebirth, depending on the virtuous and the non-virtuous. Then the more we have non-virtuous, then it's bound to fall to low migrations. So the dead and alive locates in a very thin line in terms of the breathing. As soon as we stop either inhale or exhale, we die. That's a death. And we take a rebirth. Even though when we are alive now as a human form, if we think that I'm not in a hell right now, but it is really important to think that even though I'm a human form now, however, I have all those causes and conditions to be born into low migrations. I must do something. Right. Therefore, it's really important to who to seek a shelter from not to fall to the three low migration. Then this awareness redirects our mind towards three jewels, because three jewels can protect me from falling to the three lower migrations. So therefore, in order to have a intense and the genuine refuge, sense of taking refuge to three jewels, the more intensity of contemplation, awareness on the three lower migration is a necessity. In other words, the more intensity of awareness on the suffering nature of three lower migration, then the greater sense of like urgency we will have to take a genuine refuge to the three jewels. As in the first line mentioned, the blaze of sufferings in the lower migrations. So it's really important to think about the true nature of those sufferings in the three lower migrations, right? The more we think on those, then the greater sense of urgency, the greater intensity of like taking refuge to the three jewels, because I have already accumulated the causes and conditions to be born on those three lower migrations. Because at the very present conditions, I am more vulnerable to take that. I'm more vulnerable to commit into the non-virtuous. And even I accumulate a virtuous deed. My virtuous deed is very weak, very weak. Therefore, the best for me is to take refuge in order to not to fall to the three lower migrations.
다들 예수 중에 바르네 중에 세대다 예수 중에 됐다 매 신dun에 발쟁이 매 수수를 지고 그래 매 아니 또 전부들이 아니 최선은 중에 서버가 친구들 뒤에 시다때 예수가 중에 매 바르 수수를 지고 되게 지내시다 지자치 내년에 건설을 잠도 지었으니 되게 기분 좋은 같은 잠도시 예송도 동네 지내 근데 되게 탈 치고 건설을 지었으니까 잠도 들라 기분 좋은 같은 잠도시 기분 좋은 길이야 되게 기분 좋은 길이야 기분 친구 길이야 그걸로 이니티 진의 고준이야리 뒤에서 이제 기분 좋은 같은 잠도시게 되라.
So, due to the intense fear for the blazing sufferings, right? Blazing of fire, intensity of like three lower migrations. With the fear on those intense sufferings of three lower migrations, I genuinely take refuge to the three jewels. I take heartfelt refuge to the three jewels. So this is the proper refuge of small and the common practices. The practitioner of a small scope and its common practice refers to this form of taking refuge not only within the scopes of small practitioner, within the limitation of the small scopes. Rather, it also extends to the middle scopes too, this form of taking refuge.
다들 니네 군조숨다 gem도 다 군조숨 세대 꼰배난 초득이 봐 지다 공부를 이렇게 가서 그래 근데 20년부터 군 초득이 뭐라고 지금 꼰배난 초득이 뭐라고 됐다 숨 군조숨 세대 군조 세대 어디니 제 군조 숨 근데 산제 군조 출군조 긴데 군조 숨을 봐 이제서 얘네 군조 숨나 양로신 세대다 겹순로 세대 산제 군조 출군조 긴데 군조 숨이지
So now I take a heartfelt refuge to 3 jewels. So in English it's translated as 3 jewels, but if you look at the root word in Tibetan, gunchok, gun means a scarce, rare. Chok means a supreme, very rare, yet a supreme. And there are 3 of those, such as Buddha jewel. So here it's just a Buddha, Buddha refuge, Dhamma refuge, and Sangha refuge.
That's it. Sanjay Kunjo Singit conditions Pando touching, Pambata, Toba touching the concert, Sanjay Kunjo Singit.
So now Buddha refuge. So who is Buddha refuge? A being who possess the the qualities of abandonment and the qualities of realizations. So this is such person is the Buddha refuge.
That's Sanjay Kunjo. That's your Kunjo setting. That's your Kunjo setting. Madugi Chukunjo said, Jerry, the Garrison. I Palam to the castle, any Pangbajita, Go Dance Jita, Lam Dance Jerry, the Chukunjo here. This is it. Knitting around the Tolam said to ya, he did to the mission. Nanjuki Yamichian, Nanjuki Le Megre. Ineata, Tandadi. Yasu to Melechopsi, Chukujuti, jump to the land of somebody soon. Chukujuti, Maranzu Yamnechia, Yasun to Melechopsi, Chukujuti, Maranzu Yamnechia, Maranzu Gila, Ibu. And then Yaya Chukujusi, Golam Karu to Seti, and the Inanjuki, Manandu Public answer is on the lady.
Now Dharma refuge. Dharma refuge here refers to the the practitioner who have realized the path of seeing. Path of seeing, one who have gained the realization of path of seeing, then that person is called Arya beings. That person is Arya beings. So Arya beings, the truth of the cessation and the truth of the path is the actual Dharma refuge. Therefore, for ordinary peoples, those who are not Aryas, that whole mental quality is is absence. We don't have it for ordinary peoples. However, for ordinary peoples, in terms of like a Dharma refuge, in terms of protections from not falling to the 3 low migrations, so those taking refuge in the meditation on the sufferings of 3 low migrations are the Dharma refuge for the small scopes in terms of not falling to the 3 low migrations.
The Tangandola, near Sunga to Millie, the careers and jump to the land and somebody. What is
So I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So taking refuge and the abiding on the law of karma. Taking refuge and the abiding on the law of karma are the actual protections. Protection from the 3 low migrations. Okay.
Tati, Ani, Jeff Roa said, careers in rangi lodi kunjo kuchospa nyebu chiatile kunjo le lue kero lodile ni kepsun rose kunjo kuchosu ya kep kunjo kuchosu rubiyarwa adi tarin kuchebi kepsun rubiyamari seta kepsun rose ati rangi kunjo sunda karisugure ni tabani lodo jawadi redo chawasinita ona ni tabani ichi jawadi ni sungu tumele kyobjeki kyoba karisugure kyobne barabachi ichi jawadi ni kunjo sungu kyabsun rosiyati rangi sendi kunjo kuchosu roa seati tindijir roa seati ta ing tabani ilojeba ing tabani ichicheba tindire
To take refuge, right? To take refuge to the three jewels, it means submitting your well-beings to the three jewels, or like a submit, or like a to fully entrusting your well-beings to the three jewels. So your parasitic minds deeds in align with the three jewels parasitic mind, right? We have to develop a full confidence on the three jewels that they have a power to protect me from the three low migrations.
tati sanje kunjoti kyabsundure yujenro di shiyari kyabjumnire ranjiba tamjele jawa seti ni shentan jiba tamjele jobe nubata temba jum tabla keba ranjiba tamjela jaware sijari tati ranjiti ranjiba tamjele jaware ranjiba tamjele matuni shenkyabnu marwa tini shenjiba tamjele tabla keba shibuyin bale karasi marandura jigi chöşe ciddi zamba tab kebo yamari karasine düjegi sambata sambayı sanki düjeti sambayı kingi düjeteli çötinde çitene kola pen tobatu samsagi diye kingi yari düje kamda sambata ni bakça ni bagadeto yo namane karelu kunshito şu karelu kunshito wani di 이제 이 대니가 탑을 개발지 이제 감다 삼바다 반응이 지다와 신도스네 최딩이야 된게 좀 봐. 아니 뭐 산계리 최딩이 좀 봐. 그래서 다가나나 주슈고 되는 톱스니라. 이 집이 이 순나 되게 다 준비되고 통했는데 산계리 최딩부터 특히 탑케버지니 그러나 가르친 것도 이 하고기야봐 이때 당연한 소리를 지네 죄지 되겠지 이제 감다 삼바다 네가 가르이 봐야지 하고에 맞지 텐션에 가실래 그냥 가실래 어디서 가르쳐 그래 아니 현지바 탐자들 때문에 탑을 개발했을 때 정비하면 상계를 띄어야 돼. 아니 펜탐마다게 탐지도 되는데 아니 여라는 펜바 야부지 이지네 딜레 데 아니야 라는 펜바 마두버제 지 네버레지니 그거를 때문이지네 뒤에 되는데 펜 따마다게 탐지를 되는 얘기야. 아니 Gula Tuji Chimbini remember Jubas. Dujik Gula Tuji Chimbini remember Jubas. Ni Tuji Chimbati Kevan Mubatu Niji Kumba Tarchimba Tarchimba. Tuji Chimbini region made a Karsu. Gula Tuji Chimbini remember Juba said the user. Semje ni odi isa ni penta ma da de je bas dige shi chen de de sangye la ni sangye di je gi je de ba
So when one takes a refuge to the three jewels, so what guarantees that they will protect us, right? One makes a genuine refuge, but so in the text it says there are 4 points that makes us to have full confidence on the three jewels. Those 4 points gives the guarantee that if we fully entrust, those three jewels will render a protection to us. And those 4 points are: first, Buddha himself, all right? Buddha himself emancipated from the sufferings. So he knows how to get emancipations, right? So therefore, that's a very important point, first point. Right? Second one is, if Buddha himself emancipated, what if he is not good in terms of showing us how we can get emancipation? That is not very helpful. However, Buddha not only emancipated, but Buddha is also very skillful in terms of showing us a path that leads to emancipations. Generally speaking, just except Buddha, all the spiritual masters, when they teach, right? Many they doesn't know the mental disposition of the students. They doesn't know the spiritual inclinations. They doesn't know the potency and the imprints, karmic imprints of that person, individuals in the previous life. Not knowing the minds and hearts of that particular disciples, it is very difficult to give a full benefit, to receive full benefit from that teachings. Whereas a Buddha knows everything about each and every students, right? Because Buddha understands the mental disposition, spiritual inclinations, the karmic potency of that particular individuals. Therefore, when Buddha gives one teaching, that teaching has a power to gain a realization, so stream abider or the arahant and so forth. Because Buddha knows how to teach and what teaching is suitable and what method is really maximize that person's to gain realizations. That's the second one, skillful. Third one, even Buddha is very skillful. If he is not very compassionate, then we might not benefit. The third one is Buddha is very compassionate. Buddha is very compassionate. His love for all beings is immensely intense, right? That's the third one is a compassionate Buddha is. Then the fourth one is even Buddha is a compassionate, but if this compassionate is a conditional, then it's not. Then it's also all right. Whereas Buddha's Compassion is Buddha's mind is unconditional. Buddha will not reserve someone, oh, he did or she did something nice to me, then favors that person, and then not favors the person who's not very like a friendly towards the Buddha. Right? Buddha, there is no conditions. Buddha's compassion is unconditional. Buddha's love for all being, it's very unreserved, right? So based on those 4 points, qualities, right, it gives us a guarantee that if we fully entrust a Buddha, then we will receive the protections.
다티네. 다 최군조 생년대. 최군조 생년대 다 기부 중의 전에 잠들다 내내 삼바대 기부 중의 최군조지. 내야 양바시 내줄라 소바 삼바대 양바시 다니 알아봐 숨기는 내지야디 기부 중의 최군조지. 내야 자주 생다 동반이기 따와 숨기도 냠선해야지. 제야디 기부 친구 최군조지 했던데 Tene le 20포도에 마치에서 체인지 이나 장르다 내데 선배 기분 내송이 집을 또 아니 대시 내주 선배들이 크레지 받을 또 이 답시 순대 냠수나 받을 때니 시신지 봐 탐려를 또 제니 군 접수는 됐든 그래서 그래 기부 중 기부 중 기부 친구 접수된도 송이 제상은 최군조 세야디 배제 지내서 단중에 딱 양도다 내내 저신도 상바디 최군조인 이상 양내디 제네 저부에 영문 세야디 최군조 디세야디 그에 지발에 내송이 지발에 타베 영문디 장루다 렌제 삼바티 이 마삼나 산제 마텐샤니 장루다 렌제 마삼바이나 내송에 탈투야 말이 제사 내송에 산제 디겹던 거 버려봐 내송이 지발에 네 내송은 지발티제야래 내 지발티레선 텔레 타베티니 장루다 렌제레 제니 마텐샤 대샤베제나 시제 양도다 렌데디 랑게 마삼나 니 산게리티마 템버리티 나도 저투네 그래서 양도다 렌데디 하고 삼소나 니 저투베르 bakyamu세티들이 내송기 때문에 타와나 껴무테다 양도다 렌데 삼바티 어떻게 무엇이야지 추세야지 무엇이야지
Now, Dharma refuge. For Dharma refuge, as mentioned earlier, taking refuge to the 3 jewels and abiding on the law of karma, respecting the law of karma. Those 2 are the actual refuge of the protector, which protect us to not to fall to 3 law migrations. And practice on the 4 noble truth and abiding on the practice of 3 higher trainings. Those 2 are the actual refuge of the protector of sufferings of samsara. Right? Then union of bodhicitta and emptiness. Those 2, such practice is the true refuge of the protector of like the great scopes, all by practice union of bodhicitta and compassion. It free us from the sufferings of the samsara and nirvana. As Master Padova in his text, Matsin, that's the name of text, in that book, Master Padova mentioned that taking refuge to the three jewel and the abiding on the law of karma are the true refuge of the small scope, and abiding on the teaching on the Four Noble Truths and the three higher trainings are the uh, refuge of the middle scope, and the union of compassion, bodhicitta and the bodhicitta and emptiness, realize emptiness. This is this form of taking refuge is the for the great scopes.
다티네 다 추근절에 겹스로서야지 처리 이지 전에 딩냠내 지야디 그나 인지 친구라 아니 이지 전에 인지 생겼다 인지 생겼다 자 그래서 그래 최근에 최근인 부제가 인지 생겼다 냠내 지나 아니 랑 지발에 제비에 버티 이지제니 인지 공부서는 인지 공부했다 인지 겹스로 처리 겹스로 인지 전부 공지나 도드는 처리 겹스로 인스제를 인지 전부 공부서나 처리 겹스로 잠바 공부서는 처리 겹 잔주게 쓴 공부서는 처리 겹스로 간제지 처리 이지제니 딩냠내 지야지 최디 냠내 지야서는 되게 겹스로서 아니 약게부터 냠내 지야나 냠내 거들 지제로 담지 대주비 지버지를 겹이야 냠내 이 더비야고 주는 지버 탐지를 겹투르가 어디에서 다 처리 겹스 송세야지 최대를 이지제네 그러나 잠들이 이지제네 이 잠들을 주가 잠들 지야 될 잠들면 지에서는 되게 처리돼서 렌델이 이치네 렌델이 기분 개조지 디버고에다 겨드려야 지에서는 처리돼서 그것이 다 처리돼서 도서야 돼 최대리 이지제 이 냠내 지야 돼 처리돼서 그것이
So, upholding the great compassions for all beings is actually taking refuge to the Dhamma jewels, generating loving kindness to all beings is actually taking refuge to the Dhamma jewels, upholding the practice of the bodhicitta is the actual practice of taking refuge and respecting the law of karma, right? Abiding on the law of karma is the actual practice of taking refuge. And if one does in this manner, then automatically one receives the protections. If one respects the law of karma, then that receives the protection to not fall to three lower migrations. One develops the bodhicitta and great compassion, that receives the protections in reality. So therefore, this Dhamma jewel is those three forms of the taking refuge to the those three suggest like respecting the law of karma, right? And holding three higher trainings and so forth. So if we want to engage in those practice, then that is the actual taking refuge to the Dhamma jewels.
Tati, Kinjuli kept Josiati, people Tambagi Yamne condition and to Tinashi, Jenny, Tangi Yamne Chiat, people Tambagi Chitan connection to. I am Yamne Chiat machine, people Tamban and Yamne condition to Sultani, Susan Yamne Chiat, Kindu Kunjo, Jefferson Rosie, Kindu Kunjo Siatita, Malanzu. Kami ya ta jini ya tingi dili kinti kunjo bina karasugure yo dili kinti kunjo si rangi kusum ti paye la chor jini taba tunyi nini taba tunyi sumbu maasi ya cheri karasugure paye la chor kusum na nini taba tunyi sumbu ma paye la chor chojo tenchi chense kusum paye la chorchi kusum kere chola chorchi kanale taba tenyi nini taba tenyi samba yunye ni rana di jesu june kusum paye la pame be on the masunga chi paye la chorchi ni cherba dile kibu tambasi chita na shinji kibu tambagi rangi nyamne chiri mashi ne kibu tambagi kani chiri to tina shinji di jesu june nyamne chirba tini kintu kunjo li kyapsu kawasi kintu kunjo sayate ta tine chita kintu kunjo sayate palam toba chila sigayari Alhamdulillah, ane tibe chulu chopura bachi. Alhamdulillah kami yada che satile yarba. Lam sambule tinye. Dina shin che china, lam sambule tunye che yarba. Wate sulu kami yada che ni che satile. Da draw si yara draw. Rang karasugure. Kuatani sumutumele taure timigo drose. Chakunatu kuata tumele na tumele trechigi taure kinde loputo. Tina shinchi jani ya doya chisam tamina. Wata di tatine kibu siya di dujun choshi payu lani chis. That's it, Jeremy. You take the Tambuti Maso. The unit Tabatu, some Sumburma, Bali larger Dojo Denji, Dana Chunicho, Jingle Secher. What is a maybe Hindukunjo Seti? That in the Jerry, Manadi. Jews, John and Bill Zambachi, Kamiata Jenny, Jessa Jera. You could use teacher. Dina she chair in Dosona, around carrying chair. What a dinner she jenny around in Yamil Besuna? Can do conjure kept rose here.
Sangha jewel. So the actual Sangha jewel, like the Aryan beings and above are the actual Sangha jewel. Now, however, for us, it is important to follow the footsteps of noble beings. Now, what is noble being? What is a noble being? Here, noble beings defined as any person who has the a genuine interest, who has a genuine interest for seeking a liberation, and whose mind is very much subdued in terms of very contented, not greedy, contented, and abides on the mindfulness of his or her three doors, right? Not engaging non-virtuous deeds, very mindful, very subdued, calm, right? So such person is the noble being, and therefore we must follow their footsteps, use that person as a role model for us in our spiritual practice. That's crucial to develop, because the two actual Sangha jewels are the Arya beings and above. But for us, for ordinary people in a day-to-day life practice, it's important for us to follow the noble beings' footsteps. Mentioned earlier, noble beings, a person, male or female, a person who has a very genuine interest for seeking liberations, and who is very much subdued his bodily actions, verbal speech, and mental thoughts, very virtuous, and doesn't have much desires, right? Very contented. uh, so such person use as a role models, followed, to mimic, right? So whatever the person to following their footstep or that person's footstep is crucial to further develop for our spiritual practice, and that is the practice of taking refuge to the sangha.
Yeah. That's Sanjay Kunjo said it. Member Chabal chat. Member Chabal did Naza the Kari Tambu Chen Karachin Naza Nato. Naza the Chas. Naza the Jaya. The man did the teacher Salvaris. Traded did the Jebris. So we did that. Member Chabal teaching Yerba. In a she Sanjay Gita. Ne tusu na sopa tusu. Tusu ne ti tusu ne ti tusu ke ne ti le tuji le thakte. Ne ti ti thab chala ta jaba matama me ba ti ne te sanje ba. Ti me ba khaba ta ji ba yin je. Ta me ti chuku ju tu me ti ba. Member the Cheshabali made this Sabu Masan, Nathan to Yamara. Sanjay, Nanji, member Chavati, Nate, Nation and Asha, Nate, made this Sabu. Treated this rebellion, and it only treated much. Mamasan, Nelly Talimarba. Just Nelly touching me to caress in native. What is a young mercy should be meant the fringe. And duty in a yacht of fringe. Narrative boomer of chin. And Messiah to Messiah. And it's not trading. Much in the tradition, much. Need cool, never delay. That all it's in large canyons of the what did it? Nayo should be into conjures. But the Maranda Tamari Nelly Joala Kutuga, Amjiji Kubiari, Naji Kubiari, Neoji Kubiari, Neoji Mena, and then it took what is the Nayoti into conjure the Nayot church from the injured.
Now there's an analogy of three jewels in, as um, Buddha, Buddha refuge, as a doctor, physicians, right? Um, that if the physician diagnoses the patient, understands the disposition of that patient, right? And then based on that, his conclusion prescribes a medicine. So medicine as a Dharma refuge. Right? So in order to heal from the sickness, uh, it's not just enough to to consult with the doctor, rather to take the proper medications that are prescribed by the doctors. So too, not just respecting the Buddha, but actually upholding his instructions, his teaching is crucial to get emancipated from our sufferings. To have to create a proper conducive environment where the patient recovers his or her sickness, it's important to have this compassionate caretakers who understands the process of the care, caretaking, right? Um, so, so just like the nurses or the caretakers, let's use analogy as the uh, sangha refuge. So, in our conventional understanding too, when we get sick, so we consult, we go to see the doctor, and we are supposed to take the prescription and get a proper instructions from the nurses, right? So in this similar manner, uh, since we are really tormented by the three poisonous mind, we have the sufferings. To heal from such a disease, we get instructions from the uh, teachers, and then it's important to uphold the teachings and then follow the proper footsteps of the noble beings to fully uh, uh, recover from the uh, uh, illnesses.
Dati, Tatine, Tachap Sunduyati Shetuna, Tachap Sunduyati Mananzu Kalichiko Gudesina, Puchungi Martin Benashi, Chris Sibri. Puchungi, any Kibujuni, Mans, Premier, Kangich Tene, Martin, Kibujuni, Katrina, Mamma, which is the Mammy should take the medicine. I Jala Yabujiras, Jala Jiraji, Marset, Tingaji, Mother Tingaji, Martin Giri. Kanich Tenny Mas Ginger. Odi is a Pugotos and Martin. Kajin Martin Riva, Oding around Jam to the Pujungi Martin Banesh, College.
So, what degree of that? What degree of taking refuge to the three jewels should we have? What? So now if we try to measure that intensity, right? So the text it says it should be just like either infant or toddler. That infant or toddler's awareness to his mom, right? So for infant or toddler, there's a constant connection, constant seeking help from the mother itself. When it's like needs to change the diaper, cries, just seeking for mother, right? Hungry mother, just needs something, mother. So it's this infant's whole well-being is fully handed to the mother's hand solely. Right? That's like so this kind of one should have intensity of taking refuge to fully entrusting our well-beings to the three jewels. Just like this infant, it's really 100% dependent on the mother's care, right? In general speaking. So too the mode of taking refuge towards the three jewels should be just like that.
어디네 나라도 가디니 다 산제 나라도 여가지 중순에 기부 중에 부조제 강의 중에 부조제 중에 중에 아니 강의 가제 전에 마트 부중 마트 번시지 잠도 주의나 아니 강의 가제 전에 부조제 기버리 아니 지 라는 튀기 좀 간제이네 군조를 된 말에 나랑도 튀기 좀 이제 군조 마틴이 지어봐 어디 이제 부중 마틴 번나시 잠도 매러 그러니까 지 저거야 부지요 생각이 군조 마틴이 지어봐 부중 마틴 번나시 지는 기본의 디지 컨디션에 간제된 투에 니지 산제 처벌을 되지야 강용이야 강에 그지 전에 이 산제 중에 지가 하면에 산제 중에 그래서 지금 잠도 중수나 예수 중이지와 다 처벌했지 아니 어디에서 부중 마트만 하시지
So like therefore the mode of taking refuge to the three jewels should be just like the infant's awareness or the house reliance on his or her mother's, right? So otherwise, if someone's get a very when someone gains a lot of wealth and prosperity, then there is a vulnerability of forgetting the three jewels. Or when someone is deeply in troubles, then instead of seeking the blessings of three jewels, they diverge to different protections. There's such a vulnerability. So whereas if one's mode of that taking refuge to just like the infant's reliance on the mother, right? Then when we are in a deep troubles or whenever we encounter some problems, then there is always like a immediate connections to the three jewels. Then either when when one meets like a wealth or other prosperity, conventional prosperity, then there is a direct awareness, not forgetting the three jewels. Because the three jewels, I got such a blessings. And most importantly, at the time of a dying, one will have that awareness to remember the three jewels. And if one dies with the three jewel in mind, then there is a guarantee that that person will not fall to the three jewels. So therefore, how one will remember three jewels at the time of dying, one must familiarize when one is very much alive, right? We get used to this practice. Then because of that intensity of remembering three jewels, that further extends at the time, even at the time of dying. That's a crucial.
그래. 치료기 담나스 전에 우리 친구들이 잘 지어봐. 치료기 담나스 보아스 여러분들이 뭐 여러봐. 치료기 담나지가 장들에 다가매 가던데 남아 두순 지도비 당나 시제니 우리 친구 다니요 지도비 당나지가 장들에 다가매 순 저생은 저 부중구 마tem만 시주네 아니 치르치네야 장들 텐디야래 아니 장들 텐수는 연수님이지 탈치버봐
So many ordinary people makes a huge buzz about the practice of apowa, right? Transferring consciousness at the time of dying. So, but in reality, if someone lives very ordinary being at the time of dying, something that really uplifts one's consciousness, it doesn't accord with the true teaching, right? When one is very alive, it's important to develop a genuine and intense taking refuge. As if an infant's dependency to the mother, so too one really entrusts one's full well-being and full confidence in the three jewels. And sustaining this practice. And if one is successful to keep that sustenance throughout their life, then definitely, even at the time of the dying, one will have that awareness, remembering the three jewels. If one remembers three jewels at the time of the dying, then that is the greatest power practice. There's no greater practice than that. And that is the guarantee that one will not alter three jewels. So therefore, this taking refuge to the three jewels genuinely with intensity is a crucial to us spiritual practice.
That's 나네 다들 이제 대샤 좀 일에 좋아하네.
He has questions? Yes.
Yeah. I just want. I think this is what I heard. Rinpoche saying, maybe I heard incorrectly, I don't know. Upholding great compassion to all beings is actually taking refuge to the Dharma jewel, and likewise, generating loving kindness is taking refuge to the Dharma jewel, and that bodhicitta is taking refuge and abiding in the law of karma. Can Rinpoche elaborate a little bit more on that? Is that what I've heard?
Yes. 되게 그 안에 영지 전부 기회 줘라. 영지 전부 기회 안에 다 출근 줘라. 주고 겹스 줘라. 아니 되게 참바. 다 디스텐스 아니 부딪히다 진짜 아니 랜더 진짜 되게 출근 줘라 겹스 줘서.
네, 이제 삼나.
진짜 삼나서. 디 칸데스 치고라서 디 도단 칸데스 치고라서
야
디게 도스캡스 혼자서 양면 전에 디 최고 지켰어.
그래. 그때는 레게를 지르치네. 레게 삼나서 들린데 삼야티. 이 저와제는 데부. 이 저와제는 데부 되어요. 그 미겨와제는 데부 등에 것도. 이 삼부를 봐. 먼저 매매 들어봐. 저와 들어봐. 이거 방크도 제. 저와 그것도 제스나. 아니 레게 삼버봐. 이 삼버. 그 삼선은 이번 단계 내순 중이 내순 기지 규지 봐. 내순도 돼야지. 이번 매교에 지게. 대주 대상이면 겨우게 두고야. 인사. 그래서 그래. 디바케트 본선에 내수 중에 좀 두고야 봐. 어디서 겨우게 두고. 대로 토야 줄이 서야 봐. 이게 내수를 겹쳐야 돼. 내수부터 면이 겹쳐야 돼. 내수를 맞이는 내수부터 면이 오고야 말아. 이 가르쳐버려서는 이분께 좋지 않지 그래. 대화 이발고 여러 두 인사. 이제와 다들 맞잖아. 상계기 이분께 좋지 수네 아니 수수 맞으면 내 손이 타다 내려. 이분께 좋지 않으니 이분께 좀 맞으지. 여러 번 제로이네. 아니 야타도 배워. 상계기 랍제티 남버와. 이내랑 팀 맞으러 갔다. rangi tijini, gyawatu, tipapu, gyawatu gatu, gyawatu tipa, gatu pamina, nyasungi, tijaberta, tiku nyasungi, yaji yuti, tibarwa, tendu toji yuti, tibarwa.
So upholding the practice of law of karma, loving kindness, great compassion, bodhicitta. So those are uh, the, those are also practice of upholding the Dhamma jewels, Dhamma refuge. For examples, let's take one example like upholding the law of karma, restraining from the non-virtues, engaging in the virtuous deeds. So if one say, what if I commit into non-virtues, then this action causes one to fall to lower migrations. So how one can protect from the falling to non-virtuous, restrained from the restrain from the non-virtuous deeds, right? Rather to uphold the virtues. By doing so, one is actually taking it. This is the expressions to put like this is the two Dhamma jewel practice. Mentioned out of those three jewels, Dhamma jewel is the actual protector. Right? So how we receive this protection is not doing the non-virtuous, rather doing the virtuous deeds. In this manner, one receives the actual protections. Because non-virtuous cause the low migrations. Virtuous deeds cause the high migrations. And to thinking on this nature, low karma. So, okay, if I do this very awareness, the knowledge of virtues produce the higher migration, non-virtuous produce the low migration. And what I do not want a suffering. I want happiness. And the cause of happiness, virtuous deeds. The cause of the non-virtuous is non-virtuous. Therefore, I must eliminate or at least reduce the non-virtuous deeds because I do not want the suffering. I want the happiness. Therefore, I must fulfill the condition of happiness by accumulating the virtues. So in this manner, the practice in this manner is actually the taking refuge to the Dhamma jewels.
근데 장주 선생님이 공수는 아니 저도 치셔들어 봐. 아니 장주 선 공수는 저도 침부치선이야. 이것도 침부치 다루야. 아니 대박이 예술이지야. 여기 아니 대상부상분의 야진이 상기를 살거든. 대주 대사림을 비니 상기를 살거든. 그렇게 장주 선생님이 공나. 대인자들 장주 선생님나 인지 침부구나. 인지 침부 공수는 대박받는 좀 주야. 대박받는 세리야. 네, 예술지지기 좀 좋더라. 네, 대주지지기 교사도가 어디 인사네. 인지 침부 공네. 네, 저렇게 수송하리. 다 접수해서는 네, 예술 무tumele. 다 tumeta 예술 무tumele 자기다 tum에기다 기분 좋은게 최대 예술 무tumele 타도 털지게 여러분 어디에서다 예술 무tumele 타야지 장르 내데 아니 전 전주스는 인지 잠바 꼼수는 그래서는 파토인데 여성 계정이 또 뒤버려봐. 이번 좀 맞추게 전주스는 그 이번 좀 맞추게 도와줄게 선을 살게. 인지 친구들이 잠바애들이 어디에서 잠바 꼼수는 네 선은 세면도 쓰고 이제 잠바위 공배 페인들 페인 계수 그래서 네 니지를 되니 어두시에서 니지 전부는 철저스도 세대 철저스도 철저스도 좀 가르쳐 그래 지금 예술을 통해 미치고도 다 주버렸더니 그래서는 저도 친구들이야 저도 친구들이 이것도 친구 좀 줘야 네 아들 때서 들바 괜히 단단한 줄 dental dancer to the dinnershi chima nams dental dancer dirba yuni yara jeni sanje kwan tanyarum riachi inguyare.
So in a similar manner, when one upholds the bodhicitta, generous the practice of bodhicitta, then by doing so, this bodhicitta, it calls to accumulate immense of virtuous deeds. In fact, bodhicitta generates greatest amount of virtuous deeds. It's the greatest amount of the merit. So therefore, it automatically restrains immense of non-virtues. So this whole practice is the real like just taking refuge to the Dhamma jewels, indeed. So when we say, so when one takes refuge to the Dhamma jewel, one needs to do what one have committed to do so, right? So if when one takes refuge to Dhamma jewel, it means now one must act upon the instructions. Act upon the instructions. So bodhicitta, either it's a bodhicitta or the great compassion, right? Great compassion, or like a loving kindness. So when one generous and loving kindness, it gathers immense of a merit. So in fact, it says like by generating loving kindness, there are 8 different great benefits of generating loving kindness. So then definitely those nature of those practices, not only like it just it calls to achieve higher forms of realizations, but at least to receive the protection of not falling to the low migrations. Yes, I see some sense. Oh yes.
Nobody else, but I have a question. What does weak merit mean?
Huh?
Weak merit.
Oh, weak merits. Okay. Listen. 근데 개와요라. 개와 톱충아. 개와 임발라 개와 톱충이라. 개와 톱충나나 간듯이 거버려서.
다디 여와 톱치주세디 뭔가 신기 둘러대네 신기 찬에 톱치주 삼배 찬에 톱치주 일그 찬에 톱치주 디레야레 그냥 신 개와 톱치와디 하나하나 산계를 수부터 수백 개와 쟤네 개와 톱치와 네 하말을 시슈 제수는 신다를 지지를 겨도 쳐야 그래서 라를 거지 치중기 거지 치쇼를 뒤에 저기 디치도 저기 개발 중서는 저는 또 치워야 개발 또 치워야 돼. 근데 가마디까지 이제 밤에 집까지 했더니 개발 또 치워야 돼. 이제 그랬더니 진짜 시험을 되게 알아봐. 근데 견주를 지야 또수 신기 둘러서야 돼. 신기 둘러 때문에 수능 세제를 어디다든지 덮치죠. 300권에지는 그냥 집이 집어렵지 땅. 요만 몰라 집어탕. 집이 돈을 지나 집어탕. 이때 심지어 탐지도 강에서 해야겠다. 대화도 해야겠지. 산지 주고 통해서 스티치도 심지어 집에 집어탕수나 300천에 그것도 지어줘. 주부디 저바디 요 만부지를 배 디제버리디 삼바디 디네 내버지 양 삼바디 만부인 거를 지제 주게 손을 좋아해 세디 디지 치도 집어다해야 돼 수수 디지 치도 수수인이라고 치도 세디인이라고 치도 세디 디지 치도 집어다해 자집어다해 수 네 우선은 취주를 줘리 주부디 지 현재 탐지기 되게 제도 현재 주고를 두고 이 제도 제가 담았을 그 미리 미 타이버리 현재 빠르면 제도 지가 다한테 취주제를 때 삼바디 자친 것이 뭐지 담으러 이 삼배도 기초들이
So weak or strong merits depends on the many conditions. For examples, if one accumulates a merit in relation to one's guru or Buddha, so those merit becomes a strong, or then making paying respects and the offerings to the Sangha communities also a strong merit. So now, in terms of the a weak merit here, it depends on the motivations, and so when one engage in the merit deeds, let's say positive deeds, but then a few conditions important. If any such as the motivation, the intensity of the deeds, actual act, and the conclusions, dedications. So any of those components are missing, or contaminated with the mundane interest, then that deed merit becomes a weak because of any of those components are missing. For examples, if one, let's say, if a person, there are hundreds of the person gives an offering, lunch offering to hundreds of people because they are hungry. And that person, they're hungry, I want to help. He gives lunch to those 100 people. Of course, that's good, right? And then other person, there thousands of the animals are hungry, so give food to thousands, right? That's also good, right? But then there's a third person. His mind is, he thinks that I truly wants to give a greatest happiness for all beings, independent beings, and to abide them in the greatest happiness, remove their suffering and greatest happiness. For this reason, I want to achieve enlightenment. To achieve myself in that state enlightenment, I'm engaging in the act of giving. So that person gives a cashew to a one bird. Then that merit is a greater than the two brothers. So it's not really like the actual deeds. It's about the motivations, right? In the worst case, if someone gives lots of money, right, but the motivation is very mundane concern to have a name and the fame, then this is even worse, very, very weak, because contaminated with the mundane interest. Okay, so weak or strong, it really depends on the many factors, right? Motivations, the basis, and so forth. Okay.
대인사들 아주 초가 춘주 지제와 춘주 지제네 삼로티 현재 탐지 강내생이다 대화 금리비 이상부 지야 치도 당기 초가 필요 이제 제번에 초가 춘주 지게 저는 받으면 없어요. 어떻게 그 주인이 삼로티 캐는 이 초가 자체로 전주 성경내생이 되게
So when we make offerings, even the actual entity substances is a of the omega offering. Let's say it is a bowl of water or a small flowers and so forth, right? So what is most important thing is it's not about the substance, right? It's really about the one's motivations. I'm making these offerings to the three jewels so that may this power of merit create a condition within me to achieve complete Buddhahood in order to benefit those infinite mother sentient beings. This is important. Then this even seemingly looks physically a small offering, but impact of this offering is an immeasurable.
다음에는 다음에는 시작이
Listen.
萨西
日月就是没多长，日拉没是你的变化。三界心都没在我怀疑，都不能把心拿出话说。
讲就是
就是说起，马蹄把马蹄就起，也把年把。